Westwood One presents Heart, Off the Record with Mary Turner. Brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be. And by Levi's 501 jeans, the jeans with a personal fit. Heart, Off the Record.
Their new album is simply called Heart. It's a band album, a real group effort.
It was a good experience a lot of the time. Some of the time it was real, how should I put this?
Frustrating?
Yeah, real frustrating. And
could I say frustrating?
Tempers flared, not within the band, but like with the producer.
Well,
because he wanted excellence just like we did, and so sometimes we...
Yeah, he pushed us and pushed us
Yeah, he pushed us a lot. And
which was really good for us, I think, too.
So when Tempers flared, that was great because it gave the whole project an edge that, rock and roll has to have. So this album is a living thing. It isn't like some kind of dead meat you throw on somebody's porch. Excuse the graphic. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What I mean is that it really is something that breathes,
Worked with a different producer on this album, Ron Nevison. Was that a good combination?
Nev is a really great guy. He's a real strong character, and that's what made this album. A lot of what made this album what it is, gave it its edge, is that he won't accept anything less than everything. He really taught me a lot about self-control in terms of singing, because I always tend to just go right over the top and just give my all, every minute, all the time, for every reason. And he tried to teach me about control, and how much stronger it can be if you control a note rather than just bleeding it out,
I think he really got good vocal performances, with reserve and just enough passion, and then kicked it in, right where it wanted to kick in. Yeah. He really was also the first, really the first producer for me working with that has really given me a lot of confidence as a singer and as a player, who really didn't make me feel like, okay, so you're a girl and trying to play guitar and trying to be tight and trying to,
but I'll try and get you on the record anyway.
Yeah, and I'll just try to fit your parts in. And I really did encounter a lot of that attitude. Yeah. Like it or not, if
No, Ron really really sat on you heavy.
Oh yeah, well he really expected a lot out of me, which I want people to expect a lot out of me, but he didn't give me that age-old thing like yeah, right, well, we'll just put your part on later. That type thing.
Much later.
Yeah, maybe not at all.
Maybe next year.
And I really realized more after working with Ron that had been happening to me. After someone said, you guys are tight, you guys can all play at the same time. There's not one person in this group who's holding the other one's back, playing-wise, like a lot of groups have, And he's a perfectionist, and he really gave me a lot of confidence just as a player, too.
Me too.
Heart, Howard Leese, Denny Carmassi, Mark Andes, Ann Nancy, and Ann Wilson. In just a moment, we'll hear about the band's Canadian connection, Off the Record. I'm Mary Turner, talking with Ann and Nancy Wilson, Off the Record. In 1976, Dreamboat Annie was a debut hit for Heart. Of course, they were only overnight successes in the newspapers.
Actually, Heart's been together since '72. But people don't know about anything prior to the first album, but there was a good 3 years there, where we were just playing in clubs and just rarely getting paid and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Me driving the van at 6 in the morning after a gig, and all the guys are I'm not saying I always drove the van, but here's this picture of it used to be me driving the equipment van through Canada, because all the other drivers had already taken their shift and they were sleeping, and so Ann has to pilot this equipment
so
van.
So did I.
Yeah.
Speaker boxes are nice, soft mattresses.
Nice, soft mattresses. I love to sleep on speaker boxes.
Builds character.
A good PA horn for a pillow, no problem.
Howard Leese has been with you since the very beginning. Where did you find him? Was he in Seattle?
He came from L.A., but he was living...
I kind of want to touch that one.
He was... Where did he come from?
That's a good question.
Where you from? He was brought up here in L.A., but then he moved to Vancouver, BC, because his best friend lived up there. And I don't know exactly his real reasons for moving up there, but I think it has something to do with getting out of here, because there were so many studio musicians, and he wanted to go to a place where he could get a lot of work as a studio musician that wasn't so exploited. And his best friend Mike Flicker, who later on produced us, was up there. And they'd been in bands down here together, a band called The Zoo. Yeah, right. And so we were up there, and
we had some good names.
Yeah. And we met him up there, and we originally had two Canadian guys. A guy by the name of John Hanna playing keyboards for us. But then when the war was over and we wanted to come back down here to the States, that's the reason why we were up there, really. The two Canadians didn't want to leave their country, so we had to go, well, you know, bye.
See ya. We'll be right back with Ann and Nancy Wilson on Heart, Off the Record. I'm Mary Turner.
Hi, I'm Nancy Wilson of the Rock Report, and you and I are listening to the Westwood One Radio Network. One heck of a radio network.
We're back with Heart, Off the Record. Anyone with a brother or sister knows that being related to someone doesn't guarantee that you're going to love them or even like them all the time. Sibling rivalry has disrupted millions of family gatherings all over the world. But despite the odds, Ann and Nancy Wilson have remained friends and partners for a very long time.
Yeah, a real long time. Since
I was born.
Probably since we got the guitars. You know.
Since you got the guitar.
Yeah.
I was so jealous that she got the guitar that I had to play.
65, something like that. Yeah. We've been really good friends. That's 20 years, a good 20 years.
That's a good 20 years, isn't it?
Yeah. People always say sibling rivalry. I've never been Nancy's rival. You know, we don't have that.
I think that the music is the thing that kept us out of that, you know, feeling like sisters, fighting sister.
I think the day we start to be rivals is going to be a sad day. Because you know, there's no way that I can be better than you at your thing, and you know, like who wants to be? I don't want to be.
But see, we were too busy like working out the parts and working out the chords, and you know, how do we get the next guitar that we need? And that's what we totally were concerning ourselves with, and we didn't have the little petty arguments that I guess siblings really have.
Yeah, it was definitely the good earth there for a while. It was real Pearl S. Buck. We just had to totally like just drop everything else and try and make it, you know. Yeah. And that included fighting. So it wasn't that hard to be close.
Since you've worked together for so long, do you ever think about doing a solo project?
At the right moment, Ann and I both have solo things that will probably end up being like the Ann and Nancy solo record because, you know, they're kind of together, a lot of them. Which will be interesting.
Well, that would be kind of
fun.
Side
A is Ann and Side B is me or something like that.
That would be kind of fun.
It actually would be fun.
What I've always wanted to do is to cover some real, actual R&B, which I've never been allowed to do. It's like, oh, that's not hard, you know. Yeah. But I've always wanted to like cover some like Love and Happiness, which has been done now. But
I wanted to do that a little bit
like some Otis Redding song or some great, like really try my wings at that, you know, because that kind of stuff really takes a lot of control. I mean, and you can't sound too stiff, you know. You just have to let it roll in just the right way, you know. I could try that.
What about doing old standards like Linda Ronstadt?
Oh, you mean like Skylark? No, never.
Torch songs.
No, I don't like that jazzy stuff. I don't like that. You know, I don't like jazz.
Well, it's, you know, we're just basically rockers at heart. No pun intended. But I didn't really mean to say it that way. But we are. We're when you look at us, you know, we're really rock and roll people.
I've got to ask you about the coffee commercial. Are you both real coffee achievers?
Well, everyone always asks us about that. I don't think that us doing the coffee commercial has much to do with our love of coffee. I mean, now that it's off the air and we can come out and say it, you know. I'm a tea drinker myself. But, but like, see, we did it because they came to us and said, you know, here's this campaign, you know, we're trying to get one group or one person from each genre of entertainment or sports, you know. And we've chosen you, so we were kind of flattered, you know. And it was good money. And
and we needed it at the time.
At the time, and we were out of the public eye, and we thought it was a great way to just kind of keep in front of the eye for a while we were making our new album.
I think it was sort of it was like a double-edged sword, and it was good in a way, and it was also
people would come up to us on the street and go, "Yeah, sure, caffeine calms you down," you know.
Yeah,
right.
You got a lot of flack for it too.
Yeah,
it was pretty good. Heart mixes a new record, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Here they are drinking coffee, but like, here's one funny anecdote about when we shot it. It was like, you know how when you make any commercial, it takes a really long time.
You have to do it over and over.
You have to do it over and over, and so every time, like they would come in with these steaming mugs of coffee for each shot, and so we'd take
They had
a
to be
little
black too. You couldn't have cream in it.
Yeah, so it would show.
And you had to keep drinking it.
Yeah,
you know?
so we got really wired after a while. So then finally, like we said, look, we just bring us decaf.
We're not going to look good in this commercial anymore if you make us drink any more coffee.
So they brought decaf, but that's still you have enough. And
your
so
stomach
finally we said, look, we can't drink any more coffee. Is there something black that we could put in this cup?
Anything just dark, you know, black. Let's get some black food dye out here.
Yeah,
you know?
So we can drink it for the commercial. So finally they ended up putting red wine in the cups.
Yeah. So, you know, on the commercial we're going, yeah, we like this coffee. This is good coffee.
Your dream. You know, like it was pretty funny because people really noticed it. Like they.
Oh yeah.
Because
like
coffee
fans,
is the national drink.
Our fans would send us coffee, you know.
Yeah.
Like we'd be sitting in a bar, you know, at our hotel or whatever, and the fans would send us over some coffee.
Yeah.
From Coffee Achievers, yeah. Oh, thanks.
Now you know, don't send coffee, send flowers. We'll be back with more Heart right after this, Off the Record.
Hi, I'm Ann Wilson of Heart, and you're listening to the Westwood One Radio Network.
Heart's look may have changed a lot over the last 10 years, but their musical philosophy is basic rock and roll. No tricks, no gimmicks.
There's no way in the world that Heart will ever be new wave or even aspire to be. I mean, that'd be ridiculous, you know.
There's a lot of great, you know, new sounds and things coming out of new production ideas that are happening in new wave and in rock and all kinds of new music that we're becoming more aware of and want to use more. But as far as, you know, changing our style, I think on this album, I think we're doing pretty much what we've always done except better.
Yeah, I just don't think that we'll ever want to go in for the disposability of it all, of a lot of the new stuff and the totally style consciousness of it all.
Fashion rock.
The band is looking very fashionable this year. You've got a new look on the album cover and in the video.
It's a real romantic look, and I guess that's kind of where our heads are at now. I mean, to use an antique phrase, but that's really how we feel, you know, about dressing and everything. We're not trying to affect anything.
Well, we're getting into some weird new clothes ideas right now. You should have seen us last night. Oh, God. We were stopping people on the street. I mean, they were stopping, you know, going, what the hell is that?
What is that ding-dang deal?
No, I don't know. We're just having fun. Actually, the album cover was sort of the first, like, flurry of, hey, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of this.
Just wear everything.
You know, sort of tailored, but sort of this and sort of that all at the same time. Yeah, just wear everything at once, and then since then...
Not in the Cyndi Lauper sense, though, where you wear, like, bangles and stuff.
And then for the video, which I don't know if you've seen yet, we kind of took that another step, like, that same look except even more, like, from a different planet, you know, and then from a different time or something.
Yeah.
And so then,
you know, we've always liked to
getting
really...
more and more kind of left field here with the clothes. I don't know where it's going to end up.
Oh, well, I don't think it will end up, you know.
Yeah, I think it'll just be...
But, you know, we've always liked to really dress up and, like, wear costumes and like, even back in the old days, when, like, with Little Queen and stuff.
The
that whole gypsy
era,
deal.
the platform boots.
Excuse me, it was really fun, just to, like...
But then that became more common, so we moved on to our, kind of our... Japanese
Yeah.
phase that we went through.
Our black period.
Yeah.
Next,
the black and yellow period.
Yeah. Then we were football players one year.
Hearts always seemed to be a family band. Is that still true after 10 years and 8 albums?
Yeah, there's more of that now than there was with our two new additions, which are not new anymore.
So 3 years, yeah.
3 years ago, we got Denny Kermasi and Mark Andes on for the rhythm section. The rest of us are still the same since day one with Howard Leese. But it's more of a family thing now than it ever has been. We're closer as friends.
Yeah, we don't live in the same city, so whenever we see each other, it's a big occasion.
We really miss each other, like off the road and stuff. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Because there was a time there where Hart was getting real, like a bunch of spoiled brats, you know. Before we changed members, everyone had attitudes, and there was ego things, and, you know, like the typical thing, right? And now it's like there's these really sweet guys in our group.
Yeah.
And they take care of us, they protect us. When we're on the road, it's like, you know, they know how to be gentlemen and friends and like brothers too.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like sometimes you go, this is too good, you know, wait a minute, we're supposed to like all want to take separate limos and stuff, right?
Well, I was thinking, you know,
and
like
we'd like to be together.
It's so great right now that I just hope that the fly of success doesn't get in the ointment.
I know, because we've all been pulling together and kind of a little bit hungry there together for a while now. And you're right, that would be a threat, wouldn't it?
Like if this album gets really successful and here comes the big specter of money, you know, coming our way, which we all want. Of course, you know, I'd be lying to you if I said we didn't want to be successful, but I just hope that doesn't wreck it, you know.
Yeah, I hope the credit wars don't begin. Who gets credit for everything, right?